I want to start with something you've probably experienced. Think of someone in your life who loved you, but whose love you couldn't quite stand on. Maybe it was a parent whose affection was intense but unpredictable. They're there one day and withdrawn the next, depending on their mood or your behavior. Or a friend who showed up for you in crisis but disappeared when the crisis was over. Or someone who said all the right things about how much they cared, but when it actually mattered, they weren't there. That love, of course, was real. I'm not saying it wasn't, but it didn't have a foundation. And love without a foundation, no matter how genuine, no matter how warm, cannot hold weight. You can't build on it. You can't rest in it. You're always slightly braced for it to shift. Now think of someone whose love you could actually stand on. Someone whose care for you was so consistent and so reliable that you never had to wonder about it. You knew where you stood, you knew they wouldn't disappear, and because of that, you could actually rest. You could actually open. You could become more yourself around them because the ground wasn't moving. That is Yasod Shebe Chesed. And today, on day 6 of the Omer, that's what we're working toward: a deeper love, a love with a foundation under it. There are two verses that I see as the heart of this count today of the Omer, and together they defined the whole week of Chesed and today's specific intention. The first is from Tehillim, Psalms chapter 89, verse 3, and it says, Olam Chesed Yebinah. The world is built on loving kindness or chesed. The word yibinah is crucial. It's not a word that's past tense. It's not that the world was built and now it just sits there. It is active and ongoing, meaning the world is being constructed right now, continuously, through acts of chesed. Every time someone chooses chesed, they are literally participating in the architecture of reality. That verse is the anchor, really, for the whole week of Chesed, the first week of the Omer. And if you think about it, it's a radical claim. Chesed is not just something that we're saying is a nice thing to do. It's not something that you do when you feel like it. It is the building material of existence itself. The second verse is from Proverbs chapter 10, verse 25. And it says, Sadiq Yasod Olam, the righteous one is the foundation of the world. When we think about what Yasod is, it is the Sephirah that channels all of the energy flowing from above and brings it into what you'll see tomorrow, Malchut, which is the world we actually live in, reality. And so Yasod is the conduit. It is the pipeline. It is the place where everything that's meant to flow into reality actually passes through. And so if you put those two verses together, then you can really get this teaching and this rectification for today. Chesed is, of course, the substance. Yasod is what makes it flow. And the week is all about chesed as the world's foundation. And today is about what gives that love its own foundation. What makes it reliable? What makes it something you can count on? What makes it a force that holds? Before we get into this a little bit more, I want to name something that we can count on as maybe the problem in a clearer way, right? Because I think most of us have this problem and maybe we don't realize it. Most of us, I don't think, lack love. We feel love. We feel it for our families and our friends and our communities. The feeling of chesed, of course, is not the issue. I think the issue is that our love doesn't always have yasod under it. It doesn't always have a foundation, and so it leaks. It shows up sometimes inconsistently. It's available when we feel good and contracts when we're stressed or tired or hurt. It's, of course, given freely to some people and withheld from others based on a criteria we've never really examined. It's performed in public and quietly absent in private. In the Zohar, it describes Yasod as the place of Brit, which means covenant. And I think that's the key word because covenant means your love is not contingent. It doesn't depend on how you feel today. It doesn't depend on whether the other person deserves it by your current accounting. It is a commitment that holds across time, across your mood, across the difficulty of the circumstances or the day at hand. And so when you think about the difference between someone who loves you conditionally and someone who loves you covenantly, conditional love is always slightly transactional. It's, of course, warm when you're meeting expectations and cool when you're not. You can feel the invisible ledger being kept. Covenantal love doesn't have a ledger, it loves you in your failure the same as in your success. And it's because it is a love that isn't based on some sort of outcome. That is Yasod Shebe Chesed. And it is one of the hardest things a human being can do. You know, the people of Israel, when you look at their journey with Moshe and you look at how they were largely speaking combative with him, yes, you see moments when they're excited, but a lot of the account when they are in Mitzrayim, when they are leaving Mitzrayim, it's a conditional type of chesed. When things are going great, maybe they're saying nothing. But when things don't go good, Moshe, we told you to leave us in Egypt. Look at us out here. That, the reason the Torah is showing us how the people of Israel were interacting with Moshe while they were in Mitzrayim and as they're on their way out, including in this moment when we talked about yesterday, where they're trapped against the sea of reeds and with Pharaoh in front of them. The reason the Torah gives all of these statements and accounts from the people of Israel toward Moshe is because as we now are trying to rectify how we engage with people, how we understand our character, and how we're building up our new vessels with chesed as its foundation, Yahweh wants us to see that how they were engaging with him in Mitzrayim is not how we should engage and understand what chesed is really about. It's not about conditions. To give chesed when it feels good to give it, to show up when something is convenient, to show up in this way when something's convenient, and sort of to be generous when we're feeling good, that's not it, beloved. That's too easy. And so Yasod is asking us, can your love hold when it costs you something? Can it stay warm when the other person is being difficult? Can it keep showing up when no one is giving you any credit or notice for being a person of chesed? Can it survive the long middle moments when things might be boring, nothing triumphant is happening, the ordinary, unglamorous middle parts? That is where most of life actually happens. That is the work of today. So let's talk about some specific ways that we can give this. Let's go through 5 ways to examine and strengthen the foundation within our love. And with each one, I'll give you sort of an intention, something that you can actually carry into this day. So the first dimension, we'll talk about it through the lens of consistency, meaning love that doesn't depend on your mood. And this is the most basic quality of a foundation um, that exists, right? You don't wake up one morning and find the foundation of your house has shifted because it was having a hard week. A foundation is constant, but most of us give love that is deeply mood dependent. I know I do a lot of times. When I'm a grumpy Gil, I don't know that you're getting so much love, right? But when we're feeling rested and feeling good, we're sort of the generous, loving individual. But when we're depleted or stressed or anxious, our love contracts. And what do we know about what Mitzarim is? It's a place of contraction and narrowness, right? It's about a short temper, a short worldview. It's about being withdrawn, right? And so Yasod Shebe Chesed asks you to close that gap, right? And it's about making a commitment that your love will not be held hostage to your emotional weather. One of the highest forms of chesed is chesed done to the dead, is what the Rambam tells us. So in Hebraic thought, this is what is believed, and the reason for this is because those individuals cannot repay you. There is no way to make it transactional. You give and nothing comes back. I think about some of the individuals who in the Ark of Yahweh who have ascended to Shemaim. There's a really important moment when you transition to Shemaim where your body has to be washed, and your body has to be washed, and then you have to be wrapped and clothed in white linen. Essentially, it is the preparation of the body before it goes into the ground. And for two individuals within the Ark of Yahweh, Rabia, Yirmeh ben Yahweh, and Malchiah bat Yahweh, we had members of the Ark who took on this task. And it is one of the most difficult, yet in Yahweh's eyes, most extreme acts of chesed for this exact reason that we talked about here, that is noted in Hebraic thought from the Rambam, that it is the highest form of chesed to be done is that chesed that is done to those who are no longer living because they can't repay you. And so to those who have already done this in the Ark of Yahweh for our loved ones, you have already practiced the highest form of chesed, and Yahweh is thankful for that. The second dimension is about bonding, love that creates um, a real connection. And so when you think about bonding, right, um, you should be deeply thinking about a deep connection, right? You should be thinking about the kind of connection where the other person's reality genuinely bonds in you and yours in them. It's that bond that we read about between Jonathan and David. A lot of what we call love in our culture is really actually, um, not so connected to bonding. It's like two people who care about each other, but who haven't really allowed the other person's inner world to touch them. It's like we're nearby, we're loyal, but we're not bonded in the deepest sense. Maybe it's as if there's a glass that's between us. And so, under this dimension of bonding, the work of Yasod Shebe Chesed is to take that glass out, to actually let people in and to let what matters to them matter to you. And this is actually harder than it sounds because real bonding, it actually means you're going to be vulnerable. You have to allow yourself to be moved. And, you know, sometimes when we've lived a little while, we've seen a lot that's been going on, being moved to that vulnerable place is dangerous. And so we protect ourselves. It's like we're loving, but there's an escape route if things get a little too vulnerable. Um, Yasod Shebe Chesed is, from this bonding standpoint, is someone who has learned to love without that escape route. It is someone who stays present even when the other person's pain might feel uncomfortable, and even as they're maybe not trying to fix it, but you're not fleeing. The third dimension, love that holds across time. Okay. Um, we've already talked about this a little bit, but I just want to open it up to um, maybe in a different dimension, right? The prophet Jeremiah, in the depths of the destruction of the temple, it says that he records Yahweh sort of spoke to him saying, I remember for you the chesed of your youth, your love as a bride. The people have failed, the temple is burning, and yet the covenant holds. The memory of love is still alive, and the commitment is still there. Most of our human relationships operate on a logic that's about sort of contracts, even when we think they're about a covenant. We say we love unconditionally, but what we often mean is, I love you as long as you don't cross certain lines, as long as you keep being who I need you to be, as long as our relationship keeps giving me what I'm hoping for. And so, beloved, with this concept of the dimension of the love that holds across time, we are saying that the quality of love we're aspiring to today is one that is fundamentally not about what you're getting back. It exists independent of any return. The last two I'm going to say quickly. The fourth dimension is love that actually reaches people, right? So um, the work here is to ask ourselves questions like, does my love actually reach the people I love? Do they feel it? Do I know what makes them feel loved? Practically. And this is important because, maybe you've experienced this. Someone, may love you deeply, but they express it in a way that doesn't land with you, right? They give us what they want to give us, not what we actually need. They show up, and they, maybe are showing up in ways that feel like the love that they would want, or sort of love to them, but to us, it might feel like pressure or intrusion, right? Meaning their chesed is real, but their yasod, the channel, is misaligned. And lastly, beloved, the fifth dimension is humility, meaning love that is not about you. A lot of what we think of as chesed is actually slightly about us. We give and we want to be seen as givers. We love and we want credit for loving. We show up for people and we want them to know we showed up. There's something in it that attaches a subtle egoness, if you will. And really, when ego is there, then that love is never quite really free. It has a condition hidden, and it says, I love you, and you will acknowledge that I love you. The deepest chesed that we can do, as mentioned earlier, is um, invisible. It's the parent who shows up at 3 a.m. without anyone knowing. It's the friend who prays for you without telling you. It's the act that is done for someone who will never be able to repay you in a moment when no one is watching, because this is where you find out whether your love has a foundation under it. When there is no reward or recognition, and when the only reason to do it is because of love. Olam chesed yibna. The world is being built on chesed. This chesed needs foundation and consistency and bonding. It needs a covenant, and it needs to be channeled so it actually reaches people. And it needs to be humble enough to work without needing to be seen. This is Yasod Shebe Chesed, and this is what we are being asked to grow into today. Beloved, you are being built into something. Yahweh is inviting you to cooperate with the building. And the question I want to leave you with is, who in my life needs my love to be more of a foundation, which means more consistent, less transactional, more genuine and real? And what is one thing I can do today to be that for them? May your counting be a building that has a foundation built on chesed, and may your chesed be one that lasts and turns you into a Sadiq for Yahweh. Shalom. Stay tuned for the Omer blessing.
Baruch atah Yahweh, Yahoheinu melech ha'olam, asher kiddushanu, b'mitzvotav v'tivanu, al sefirat ha'omer. Blessed are you, Yahweh, our Almighty One, King and Ruler of the universe, who has set us apart by your mitzvot and instructed us concerning the counting of the Omer. Today is 6 days of the Omer. May the Merciful One restore unto us the service of the Bet HaMikdash to its place speedily in our days. Amen. For the choir master, a song with instrumental music, a psalm. May Yahweh be favorable to us and bless us. May he make his countenance shine upon us forever, that your way be known on earth, your salvation among all nations. The nations will extol you, O Yahweh. All the nations will extol you. The nations will rejoice and sing for joy, for you will judge the peoples justly and guide the nations on earth forever. The peoples will extol you, O Yahweh. All the peoples will extol you, for the earth will have yielded its produce, and Yahweh our mighty one will bless us. Yahweh will bless us, and all from the farthest corners of the earth shall fear him. We implore you, by the great power of your right hand, Yeshua HaMashiach, release the captive. Accept the prayer of your people. Strengthen us, purify us, Yah someone. Mighty One, we beseech you, guard as the apple of the eye those who seek your oneness. Bless them, cleanse them, bestow upon them forever your merciful righteousness. Powerful, Kadosh One, in your abounding goodness, guide your congregation. Only and exalted One, turn to your people who are mindful of your kadoshness. Accept our supplication and hear our cry. You who know secret thoughts, blessed be the name of the esteem of his kingdom forever and ever. Master of the universe, you have instructed us through Moshe, your servant, to count Sefirat HaOmer, in order to purify us from our evil and uncleanness. As you have written in your Torah, you shall count for yourselves from the day following the day of rest, from the day on which you bring the Omer as a wave offering. The counting shall be for 7 full weeks. Until the day following the 7th week shall you count 50 days, so that the souls of your people, Israel, may be cleansed from their defilement. Therefore, may it be your will, Yahweh our Mighty One, and the mighty one of our scriptural forefathers, that in the merit of the Sephirat HaOmer, which we and I have counted today, the blemish that we and I have caused in the Sephirah, Yasod, Shebe Chesed, be rectified, and we and I may be purified and set apart with your kadoshness. May abundant bounty thereby be bestowed upon all the worlds. May it rectify our nefesh, our ruach, and our neshama from every baseness and defect, and may it purify and set us apart with your kadoshness. Amen.